It's important to see that if Christianity is true, it's truly possible to be a free thinker. On atheism, not so much. I want to point out that Frank and I agree that if atheism is true, then morality is impossible. In an objective sense, it's impossible. Frank and I also agree that if atheism is true, then rationality is impossible. Rationality, it doesn't work. And when you think about it, rationality and morality are linked. Consider C.S. Lewis, a former atheist. Let's look at this, a couple slides here. He says, suppose there were no intelligence behind the universe. In that case, nobody designed my brain for the purpose of thinking. Thought is merely the byproduct of some atoms within my skull. But if so, how can I trust my own thinking to be true? But if I can't trust my own thinking, of course, I can't trust the arguments leading to atheism, and therefore have no reason to be an atheist or anything else. Unless I believe in God, I can't believe in thought. So I can never use thought to disbelieve in God. I got to tell you that this idea behind what C.S. Lewis is saying here, it was the focus of my master's thesis and also a focus of my PhD dissertation. This topic gets me out of bed in the morning. I love talking about rationality and what it means to be rational and how rationality makes sense. But basically, this comes down to one question. What does it mean to be a free thinker? What's it mean to be a free thinker? You know, atheists love to call themselves free thinkers. Have you ever heard that? How many know that atheists like to call themselves free thinkers? All right, you've heard that, okay? But according to their own worldview, free will does not exist. They believe all that exists is only nature, and thus all that exists would be caused and determined by the forces of nature, just physics and chemistry, fizzing and popping and doing its thing. It stands to reason then that if this atheistic naturalism is true, then free will does not exist. Sam Harris is one of the most famous, most influential atheists in the world today. And Sam Harris wrote a book about free will called Free Will. And he concludes that we don't have free will. Listen to what he says. Listen to what he says about thoughts. Sam Harris. Thoughts and intentions emerge from background causes over which we are unaware and over which we exert no conscious control. What? And then he says, we do not have the freedom we think we have. And he goes on to say that we're not even responsible for our own thoughts. Here's the bottom line. If there's no free will, there's no free thinking. It doesn't make sense on atheism to say you're a free thinker. To make my point, I want to invite a mad scientist to the front of the room to engage in a little thought experiment. All right, not a real guy's coming up, but do a thought experiment with me. Imagine somehow that a mad scientist gets control of your brain. And now he causally determines everything in your head. So everything you think of and about, he causally determines, he forces this upon you. He causes you to think exactly what you think of and about and exactly how you think of and about it. He even causes the next words that are going to come out of your mouth. Question: how can you, not the mad scientist, rationally affirm any of your thoughts or beliefs? Go. Well, what? That was even the mad scientist, not you. All right. I'm just kidding. See, it's impossible. You're right. It's impossible to do such a thing. It doesn't work. And if you replace the mad scientist with physics and chemistry or anything else, you've got the exact same rationality problems, but for different reasons. It's impossible. However, if God exists, if theism is true, especially if Christian theism is true, then you are an image bearer with free will. Remember that cosmological argument that we just looked at. After thinking logically about scientific data, we reach the conclusion that God is an immaterial, volitional mind with free will, that is, an immaterial thinking thing, a free thinking thing. So if the Bible is right and you are a soul in the image of God that has a body, but who can survive the death of your body, then you are an immaterial mind who is free from the deterministic forces of nature to think and reason and reach rational conclusions. It's important to see that if Christianity is true, it's truly possible to be a free thinker. On atheism, not so much. Christians are the ones who have the right to be called free thinkers, and that's exactly why I called our ministry Freethinking Ministries. I stole it back from the atheists because they don't have rights to that term.